What's up, guys? Just wanted to show the tier list from 2024 that we have going right now. We have a lot that's been learned since the last tier list, and a lot of patches that have come up, which will change things drastically from the tier list that I put out a few months ago, which ended up doing pretty well. A lot of you guys watched that. A lot of you guys supported me and liked that video, so I do appreciate that. But we want to come out with the latest and greatest when it comes to all the tier lists, and we're going to go in alphabetical order. So the first thing is Abomination, and if you want to skip around and you want to just jump to the end, which a lot of you guys like to do, just see what I say, that's great. But I'm going to bookmark every single thing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about every mini, so if you want to skip around the video, feel free. Alright, Abomination. It's a fantastic tank. It's one of the best tanks in the game. However, it does cost 6. It pulls a ranged unit every 5 seconds. Can be very good in a handful of levels like Ghoulia. It's double S tier. It's so good. But generally, I'm going to put him around B tier. He's a great tank. If you have a Frostwolf Shaman behind him, keep him healed up. There's a lot of great things that you can do with Abomination. Generally, I think he is a mid-range, like not usable on every level by any means, but there's a lot of uses for him still. Keep him leveled up because there are going to be some levels that you really need him. Next, we have Arcane Blast. Arcane Blast is kind of trash tier. I'm going to put him D tier for now. I will potentially change these as things go on. I'm going to try to stick with it, but you know, I might learn something as I am talking too. So it is a card that does a little bit of damage. You can hit it again, do a little bit more damage. Hit it again, do a little bit more damage. It has great uses in a handful of times. Like if you have to stop Goblin Sappers or something like that, it's great for that. But we're not talking about PvP either. We're talking about PvE. So it doesn't really have a lot of uses in PvE, in my opinion. Now we're coming up to Banshee. Banshee is one of the best cards, if not the best card in the game. I'm not going to say it's the best card in the game, but when you're pushing heroics, and this is a PvE tier list, this card will find its way in your deck more often than you believe. You're going to struggle with a heroic. Banshee will save your life. I'm going to put him at double S tier. Banshee is unbelievable. Unbelievably good card. Still not useful in every single level. If there's a lot of levels that are just kind of swarming you know, like Devil Sword Queen or something like that, really not that great in that deck. But there's a lot where there's a Molten Giant, there's maybe even Wolves or Tauren or Abominations. If you can steal an Abomination with a Banshee, you are up significantly in a gold trade. So while pushing heroics, you will find yourself using this more and more and more. If you're pushing like red heroics, like I do quite a bit. Batrider. Batrider is such a good card, and it's so slept on. There's so many people that do not use Batrider, and I think that's a big mistake. It's only 2 gold. That's one of the best things about it. Like, it's not an extremely overpowered card. It's a balanced card. That being said, there's so many maps where there's just wolves and chickens and raptors and all these things coming in at you all the time, and it's just a cycle card. You get it out there, it does a little bit of damage. It's great. I think that this is it's in between S and A. I'm going to put him as A tier, even though I probably use him, her, him, whatever, Batrider, all the time. I love this I love this card tremendously. Blizzard, I think I had that on my first tier list as D tier, maybe C tier, I don't remember. That being said, something changed really recently that makes Blizzard significantly better, and that is a nerf to Safe Pilot. I'm going to talk about Safe Pilot later when it's time for Safe Pilot. Safe Pilot was double S tier. So good all the time. However, it was just nerfed. Now it doesn't take out an equal Darkspear Troll. Like, it doesn't do a lot of stuff. So Blizzard is actually, in my opinion, by the nerf of Safe Pilot, it actually makes Blizzard kind of something that nothing else can do. You know, there's not a lot of other things. Maybe Welp Eggs with the explosion can kind of do it, but when you're looking for like an unbound, you need to take care of something, Blizzard will do it. So from D tier, which I think I had it at, maybe C tier, I'm actually going to put that all the way up to S tier, which I hate doing. I really hate just like, oh, a spell that does a lot of damage, we're putting it high. Like, it's kind of cheap, not in the gold cost, but it's kind of cheap just having a card that is that good, be that good. But it really right now is the way that they changed this meta by nerfing Save Pilot into the ground, which I'm sure some of you guys are happy about, some of you guys are not. But yeah, by that I think that Blizzard is going to have to take a spot in a lot of people's decks, which I kind of hate. But it is what it is. Next, we're talking about Meat Wagon, the old catapult. I like catapult a lot. There's a handful of maps where it's quite good, but I don't know. Lately in these heroics, it's really not cutting it. There's a lot of other cards that do it really good. Darkspear Troll, even the poison boy pumpkin thrower. Like, I'm putting him closer to C tier right now. Even with the extended range, you can cheese a lot of maps. He's absolutely has his uses, and I still love him. I keep him leveled up because there are some maps where I'm like, oh crap, I can't really do it. But Meat Wagon, I can kind of cheese that tower. Like Tidris, it's a tough map. Meat Wagon has its place in that. Chain Lightning, amazing in PvP and PvE. I cannot think of a time where this is going to really probably find your deck. It's better than some things. It's worse than Meat Wagon generally. Man, I think I'm actually going to put him low D tier. It's a Lightning. I'm going to put Lightning low D tier only in PvE. PvP, absolutely a different story. Probably in the A tier. But yeah, in PvE, if you're running Chain Lightning, you're losing out on another card that I think would more or less be better in many situations. Maybe not every map though, by any means. Next we have Cheat Death. Cheat Death is great. It's fun. It has its use. A lot of times you're running Harpies in with a poison talent, and you want that little bit of extra life on them to do something. Cheat Death is pretty good. Still, I don't use it that much. There's a lot of people that probably do. I'm going to put that as lower B tier. This is probably going to stay at the absolute back end of B tier. I could even throw it at C, but it has its uses. Still, 90% of the time, I would say it does not find its place in a heroic map. Next, we have chickens. I love Angry Chickens. 2 cost. They die instantly, but they do so much damage. They do just absolutely crazy DPS. They hard counter things like wolves. They hard counter things like the Tauren chieftain thing. Not the hero. What is that called? You know what it is. The Tauren. They're really good. I use them all the time, and they often are the game changers that no one would ever think of. Those I'm actually going to put as S tier. Probably, I'm going to put it actually right in front of Blizzard just because I use them too much. I think that they are sneaky good. Even if they're under leveled, they're going to do more damage than any other thing in your deck. Like, they're crazy. If you can keep them alive, you throw a little Unbound tank behind while they're going in. They just do crazy damage. Dark Iron Dwarf is the next. I don't use him that much anymore. I used to love him. He's very good in PvP. In PvE, I don't touch him that much anymore, I'll be honest. Like, I'm probably missing out on something there. I'm not going to go super low with him because he still only costs 2. He does actually kind of attack sometimes, which can be good. And obviously you can get right on an opponent's gold or chest or something like that because he's unbound. I'm going to put him low B right now in PvE. PvP, like I said, different story. Darkspear Troll. Darkspear Troll is a great card. Is useful almost all the time. The regeneration talent is very good. He can almost solo an equal level tower. Almost, generally not, but he's great. I'm going to put him low A tier. He's usable in almost every single map. Just a good, solid, all-around. Hits air, hits ground, dies quick-ish, but great card. Defias Bandits. Defias Bandits, especially if you have the pick lock, can be very good in a lot of maps. I don't use them in mini maps, but if there's somewhere chests are really close to you or something like that, and you can get those on those chests pretty quick, they're very, 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 very useful. You get a ton of gold for 1 gold as a cycle unit. Very, very good card. They're better than almost all of these cards. I'm going to put him high B. He's close. I mean, Abomination and Defias Bandits are pretty close. I'd say I'd use them roughly the same amount of time for vastly different reasons. What is this guy? Drake, something like that. Drake? I think his name's just Drake. Drake is good. He's extremely good if you're using that BlackRock hero that I can't remember right now. If you can get him 1 cheaper, he's good. If you get that talent where he drops Welp Eggs, he's pretty good, but he's still quite weak. He dies pretty quick. He's fairly situational. In PvE, I would not play him outside of playing BlackRock for the most part. So, that being said, I'm going to put him low-ish C at this point. Just because, I don't know, you can't use him for all factions, in my opinion. Next we have the Earth Elemental. So next we have the Earth Elemental, Rock Elemental dude. Unbound tank. I use him so much now. I used to not use him that much because I have Quilboar, and Quilboar, as all you guys know, is incredible. So Earth Elemental is an unbound tank that is very resistant towards physical damage. So that can be much, much, much more useful in a lot of different maps. I probably run him in 75% of the maps now. And he doesn't do things like take chests because he's a siege unit, so he only will attack the boss or the towers. But he's extremely good. I'm going to put him S tier, right above Blizzard. Execute is a fun card, and there's certain maps where you can literally win with just Execute. Keep that Execute leveled up. You might not be using that a lot right now, and that's fair, because it just seems kind of niche, not that great. What's it really doing? It's wasting a spot in your deck. It costs 3. But there's that talent where if you use it, anything that's within that radius gets Bloodlust for like 10 seconds, I think. 5 seconds, 10 seconds. It's a decent amount of time. And if you have like chickens and harpies and DPS on a boss and then you use it on top of that, it actually does a ton of damage. Just that Bloodlust talent on that is very, very good. And there's other times if you actually keep it really leveled up, you can actually beat the boss just by playing defense. And then if you're playing like Jaina, you just full in, execute them all the time. It can be quite good. So Execute right now, I'm going to say is lower A. Yeah, I'm going to say it's lower A. I'd probably use Execute more often than any of these B tier units currently in Heroics. Fire Elemental does have a lot of uses. I don't play them. I just don't play them. I steal them sometimes if they're playing them. Generally, I'm not a big Fire Elemental guy, and I think that's going to change. I really do. I think that like as I'm farther along into Heroics, that Fire Elemental, I am trying to keep him leveled up, but he's just a little bit behind. And you know how it is when things get behind. You just don't play him that often. So, a 4-cost AE, ground-only Elemental tank absolutely has its uses. I'm going to put him low-ish B, right, mid B. I know he's better than I'm using him for, so I think that as he gets leveled up, maybe he can do something. But right now, yeah, I think that's pretty fair, mid B. What's this guy's name? You guys know this name. Let me know in the comments what this guy's name is. He does a massive. He's Sulfurian's little dudes from WoW. I can't remember their name. Sulfurian's little guys he does cost 4, but he is probably one of the best AE ground units there are. He's like a Pyromancer that does way better versus ground, but he doesn't do anything versus air. So I just can't imagine I'd play him over like a Pyromancer pretty much ever, unless I just know that it's all ground-based units coming after me. So I'm going to put him low C at this point. There's a handful of maps where I know he's going to be really good, and he has been good. But generally, I just don't think he's versatile enough for a 4 cost to really make the deck most of the time in Heroics. Flamewalker, that's the guy's name. I'm sorry. Firehammer is next. Firehammer is a unit that does single target damage, and the more he throws hammers, the more speed he gets. So he can do great damage on a single target. Yeah, he's good. I don't have him super leveled up, and I don't really like him for the majority of maps. That being said, there's a handful of maps where he's an absolute killer. So I think that he deserves to be high A. I only say that because I don't really use him. I don't use him, but I know that he's much better than he is to me. So I think that Firehammer is a great card. He's usable a lot of times. If he was a 3 cost, he'd be probably high A, low S. But at 4 cost, he's a little bit more difficult to deal with than like a Pyromancer. Like I generally would just play Pyromancer over Firehammer if I'm in that situation. But I know that there's a couple maps where he's quite good. Next are Footmen. Footmen can be great. Footmen can be very, very good. There is no more HP that you will ever get for the mana cost of, or gold cost of 5. They're very slow. They don't do a ton of damage. They're obviously a squad unit. They have 4 of them, and if you have like a Frostwolf Shaman behind them, they are, or in an Uther or something like that, they can be great. They can be very, very, very good. I'm going to put them pretty close to Abomination because they're both very, very useful. I'm going to put them right above Abomination. If you're playing certain maps like what's that guy's name that like absorbs units and then he takes damage, he spawns all those guys. I don't know. Like it's very, very good in a lot of maps. And if you're playing Uther and you go Footman, Uther behind, it's like a 1-push win in all normals. You could pretty much normal out everything with Uther and Footman. It's crazy. And maybe like a Pyromancer behind. So he's very, very good. Gargoyle. If you guys watched my last tier list video, I kind of crapped on Gargoyle way more than I should have. I was way wrong. Gargoyle is unbelievable. He's very, very strong. You can protect him, obviously, with he's a good tank. So you can throw him out in front, and then you can protect him with some slower DPS behind, like Pyromancer, Darkspear Troll, Frostwolf Shaman. And then if he actually gets on a tower or the boss, he absolutely melts him. And there's a lot of heroics where that's extremely useful. So don't sleep on Gargoyle. I'm going to put Gargoyle mid S tier. I think I put him in C tier in my first PvE tier list, which is just wrong, and I apologize. So if you're watching that one after this, don't hate me too much. Frostwolf Shaman is great. I'm not talking a lot about talents in this. It's just it would be way too long of a video if I did. But Frostwolf Shaman has a great talent that gives like armored units elemental resistance to, and it heals. It's the only healer outside of Holy Nova and Uther that there is. So if I'm wrong on that, I might be wrong on that. I don't think I'm wrong on that though. I think that's right. So it's a good card to have. If you run like Uther, Footman, and Shaman together, good luck trying to kill that ball of death. It's a very, very good card. Very bad DPS, dies quick, but the healing aspect of it can be highly, highly useful. I'm going to put that mid-ish A tier. I'm going to put it right. It's close. Yeah, I'll put it right in front of Execute. It's extremely good. If you're playing maps normally and you like just want to push forward, you're going to use Frostwolf Shaman a lot, or you easily could. The old Goblin Sappers. Sappers I never use. I am trying to keep them leveled up because they have a huge fun use in PvP. In PvE, I just don't use them. It's not my style. I don't think they're that good. So they're cheap. You can absolutely run them in, and then you can cheat death them. You can smoke bomb them. You can do a lot to get that chip damage in. But I'm not going to put them D tier. I'm going to put them low C, just for me personally in PvE. Not my favorite style of card, because you kind of got to go all in with that kind of strategy if you're doing that, more or less. Hogger is a 3-cost tank that does a ground AE attack. I Did not like him in my first PvE tier list. However, he has a talent that gives a cycle trait, and he only costs 2. Costs 1 less gold. So for a 2, if you take that talent, a 2 cost solid ground tank that does a little AE attack is pretty solid. I'm going to actually put him closer to B tier now. He's extremely good. He's usable in like almost every single deck. Yeah, he's good. If you get that talent, I think that for 2 cost, the way he is, the way he acts, I think he's extremely good. Ghoul is another one that I actually probably had rated a little bit higher, and I'm going to probably put him right next to this Brute, Gnoll Brute. They're very, very close to each other. You probably will run one of these 2 cards a lot of the time. If you want just a cheap, solid, good tank, these are what you're looking for. One of these 2 cards. I'm not going to put either of them too much higher just because they are kind of basic, but extremely good cards. Like, you can play these in almost every single deck. Gryphon I used to have a little bit higher. Right now, I don't love him. He doesn't put out the DPS that I feel like he should. He dies quick, that's fine. A lot of things die quick, but he doesn't really crush the damage. He does elemental damage. He can have extended range or fury or throw potions at things to give him more levels. There's a funny thing in PvP right now where you can just basically level up your like Gargoyle like way higher level and just runs in and one-shots the enemy. But we're talking PvE again, and at this point, even though he's only 2 costs, he's not a bad unit. I'm going to put him very low B. I don't touch him that much anymore. I used to play him all the time. I think I might have him in an S tier, high A tier before. Not a bad card. Don't get me wrong. If you have this thing leveled up, keep using him. He's a solid card, but he's finding his way in less and less decks as heroics get pushed on. Grunts, I do not like Grunts. As far as tanks go, for 5 cost, I don't love them. I just don't love them. Their talents are average. Some of them are like he just sits there till they get attacked and they go forward. There might be something to that. In PvE though, I don't see it. At this point, I'm going to put them at the absolute lowest in D tier. There's so many better tanks. I mean, I just can't imagine I play Grunts over Footmen ever. Short of like maybe you just have those horde slots you need to fill and you level them up somehow. So yeah, I don't know, not for me. Harpies are next. Harpies are the best card in the game, in my opinion. If you have the poison talent, especially, all you need to do is get them to the boss somehow. Get them to the boss, and then you throw an unbound tank behind them. They're going to melt that boss in about 7 seconds. Just give them a handful of attacks. Poison swipes, poison swipes, poison swipes. That boss is done for. Harpies, best card in the game. Maybe. There's one more card. Actually, there's 2 more cards that might catch it. But for now, I do think they beat Banshee, and they are an absolute must-have. Poison talent is great. Buy every star you can on that hero and level them up. They're great. I don't even know the name of this guy. Harvest Golem? It's Harvest Golem. Of course it's Harvest Golem. You fight them all the time in PvE. I think they're pretty bad. They're just a below-average tank to me. I'm going to put them high D. Probably better than those. I don't know. I don't touch them. I like I said, if you guys put all your XP into them and you're using them as your tank, good on you. That's not me. I'd be surprised if many of you guys did that though. Holy Nova has its use. It's good, especially if you get like the regen over time. There's other talents that are good. If you're doing some kind of Abomination, Core Hounds, Footmen, Grunts, something like that, with Uther and Frostwolf Shaman, you're probably going to run Holy Nova as well, because it does give that just heal to your units in an AE way. It's quite good. I don't use it that often. I probably could use it a lot more, but I do a lot more kind of cheesy strategies rather than just like a big ball and push up. So, I don't know. I'm going to put that right next to Footmen, just because I feel like if I'm running Footmen, I'm probably going to be running Holy Nova. Maybe not, but yeah, those two kind kind of pair well together because they just have a lot of synergy. Huntress is an amazing card. It does cost 5, which is the worst thing about it, but it has more HP than you'd think it probably should have. It has Cloak if you get that talent, Stealth, and then it is ranged and hits ground and air, and then it does the glaive attack. So it's a great card. I don't use it that often, but it is no doubt an S tier card. It is usable in almost every single map. Keep that thing leveled up. If you're having a hard time with a level, throw it in there and see what happens. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, well, that's all I needed. I just needed Huntress, and it's much, much, much easier. Great card. Another Meat Wagon. Good job. That should not be there. I think I did that the first time too. Core Hounds, Lava Hounds. I don't use them. I think they're pretty bad for 6 cost. I don't like them. I'm going to put them right next to Grunts. I don't use them that much. I see them sometimes in PvP and PvE. Anytime I see them, they just die. They only hit the ground. They aren't that good. I don't know. I don't care for them. Of course, when one dies, the other one reses it. But while it's sitting there for 5 seconds resing it, it just dies. Living Bomb. I think I had the absolute worst spot. I almost made a new tier for it in my first tier list. But that being said, things have changed some. Like it is not as bad as I originally thought. There's a lot of maps where there's like a lot of stuff that just kind of spawns. You know, the spider map where there's 18 million spiderlings everywhere, or the one where every time it spawns a lot of mirror images and things like that. Like you can actually almost one-shot a boss with Living Bomb in certain maps. So it finds its way in more and more maps the more I play. So at this point, I'm going to put, right around mid B tier. It's not that useful in almost every map, but in some maps, it is just a absolute game changer. It will win you the map. So keep it leveled up, and you'll like it. Mountaineer, you face this all the time in PvE. Like the Mountaineer, the bear is a little bit annoying. The dwarf with the musket is terrible. And just doesn't, I don't know, it's garbage. I don't keep mine leveled, it's low level, but it's only because how easy it is to deal with. You know, when you deal with it super easily, they deal with it super easily too. It's not good. For 6 costs, I think it's probably, at this point, at this list, I'm going to put it at the very bottom. Not a card for me. For that amount of cost, not for me. Lava Golem, Magma Giant, whatever it's called. This is a pretty bad tank. Doesn't do that much damage. Has a lot of life. I would not use this ever. That being said, if somebody else has it on the field, I would love to Banshee it because it does cost 6 and it does have a ton of life. So I'm going to put that right near Core Hounds, right near Grunts. One of the more trashy tanks, in my opinion. Murlocs can be good. I like them for 2 costs. They're a good unit. You can get the bubble, which absorbs 1 hit with the talent, or you can get an extra one. They're a pretty good card. I'd put those, right about high B, high-ish B. They're a good card. I don't use them that often though, but you definitely could. Necromancer is another one of those cards that I don't use that much, but I know they're very, 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 very good. Like they can just push an entire tower and never get hit. Like just keep summoning units. And when you get the ones where they summon frost mages, now they're doing frost damage. I'm gonna put those mid to high A tier. Some people use these in every single deck. I don't care for that style of play, but I know they're extremely good. Next one is the Ogre Magi. You fight him constantly in PvE. He's in every single map, I feel like. And he's difficult to deal with. Like, he's got to be good, right? Because you fight him all the time, and he wipes out all your stuff, and he's annoying to deal with. You play him, you put him on the field, he dies instantly. It just melts. I don't like him. I wish I'd like him. If he was 4 cost, I'd really like him. He's 5 cost. I don't like him that much. I'm going to put him mid-C tier at this point. Maybe I'd love him if I actually put more more XP into him and liked him more, but I just don't think for 5 cost he could really beat like a Pyromancer. I'd play Pyromancer over him straight up with a 2 gold difference. I know he bloodlust things and stuff, but nah, not for me. Polymorph is a fun card. I used him a ton back in the day. He's kind of taken a back seat lately, but with the Golden Sheep, the spell does cost 3, but then you usually get 1 gold back. So 2 cost Polymorph is a pretty good card. In effect, 2 cost Polymorph. I think it's a very solid spell. There's not a lot of great spells, and Polymorph will save your life a lot. So it definitely has its uses. I'm gonna put that low A at this point. I'm gonna put him above Firehammer though. You'd be surprised. You're having a tough time with the map. Sometimes Polymorph will just absolutely change that game. Wolf is another thing. What is it? Prowler. Prowler is a good card. He has stealth with ability, with talent. Great card. He's cheap-ish, solid tank, low A. Nothing much to say about him. You see him all the time. You know he's tough to deal with when he's fighting you, and there's hard counters, but for 3 cost, he's a very, very solid tank. Pyromancer is the next one for a ranged DPS that hits ground, air, dies quick, but puts out the damage. And he's got 2 very good talents with the Pyroblast and like the expanded range ball thing. So I don't use him nearly enough like I should, but I just really don't. But if you're pushing slow moving balls, you want him in that mix. So that guy deserves. He's better than Darkspear Troll, I think. Even though I probably use Darkspear Troll more. I'm gonna put him number 1A. He absolutely is a very, very, very solid card across the board. Quilboar, this is one of those ones where I said there was already a best card in the game, and he's up there, man. Quilboar, unbound tanks, everything matters with positioning in this game. So if you have Harpies coming in, and they have an Ogre Magi, your Harpies die every single time. But if you have Harpies coming in and he's got an Ogre Magi, and you drop a Quilboar right behind that Ogre Magi, you not only kill that Ogre Magi instantly, you still have a Quilboar with 75% of its life. So, Quilboar is used 90% of decks. It's so good. It's a little bit better than Earth Elemental, and it is just it's highly, highly, highly usable. So, I'm gonna put him. Man, I think I actually might do it. I might put him above Harpies. Because, I use Harpies in every deck too. It's close. Number 2, I'm just going to leave him as number 1 because I don't know many decks that I don't run Quilboar in. And he's just, to win maps, you have to position things well. If things aren't positioned perfectly, you always have that Quilboar option. He's cheap, got a lot of HP, doesn't do that much damage. That's not what he's for. He's there to distract, and he distracts better than the best of them. All right, Safe Pilot. This was probably double S in my first tier list. It should have been if it wasn't. It was just nerfed. It was nerfed so badly. It doesn't one-shot an equal level Darkspear Troll anymore. It doesn't one-shot a Drake. It probably would one-shot a Gryphon. It probably would one-shot another Safe Pilot. But man, they hurt this thing bad by the amount of damage that it does. It doesn't ambush anymore. The landing damage is just a little bit too low to be that useful. It's sad because I've leveled this thing up a lot. Like he's one of my highest level dudes, and at this point in this game, I'm gonna put him better than that. He's better than that. I don't know, mid B. He's better than that too. He's better than that. All right, high-ish B. He normally, pre-nerf, he is high S, maybe even double S tier. And in PvP, he's still going to be highly useful because he still can take, I say he, it's a she, I think. Still a really good card for taking chests. It's kind of like a chest grabber now. It's a little bit of a bummer, in my opinion, how they nerfed that thing into the ground. But it still has its use. It's just not as good as it was. Kind of annoying. Raptors are next. I don't ever use them. I'm going to put them somewhere in D. You can play once, it spawns a couple, play another one, spawns a couple. They just get more and more expensive, and they spawn more and more. I'm sorry, the first one spawns 1, then it spawns 2, and then it spawns 3. Yeah, it's a kind of a throwaway card. Could be good in cycle decks. Not for me. Next one, Skeleton Party. Skeleton Party is actually quite good. I have the 5-man, which isn't the best talent. It could be used in a lot of different ways. Like, I don't use it that often anymore. I used to use it more. I don't know. It's still kind of expensive at 4 gold. I'm going to put him up there a little bit. He's not great. They are not great. They're just a little bit too expensive for what they are, but they can save your butt here and there. Skeletons are right next to them. Put them right behind. Same idea, but they only cost 2, so that's good. But they can be good in Maiev decks. They can be good in a handful of ways. They're fairly cheap, and cycle decks they can work out well. Smoke Bomb can be used. I'm going to put him right next to the Goblin Rockets. I don't think they're that good, Goblin Barrels. I don't know. I never use it. I can see maybe how it's useful. You could throw it on maybe a Gargoyle to pass up like some of the range damage that might take it out. That could be kind of fun. But to make that actually take one of your 6 deck slots, I don't think so. Spiderlings do poison damage, and they're a squad unit. They're fine. I don't use them. They're very easy to deal with when you fight them. If they're 1 cost, I'd absolutely use them. If they're 2 cost, I think there's better 2 cost units pretty much all the time. But they're not awful. They do poison damage, and there's not a lot that does poison damage out there. And poison damage is very strong. But they're going to die more often than they actually do damage. Stonehoof Tauren is... I don't even want to say it's slept on anymore. It used to be slept on. It's really not that slept on anymore. It is a unbelievably good tank. Mostly because it just warps around. If you get the talent where it's like it shoots towards something, it shoots towards something else. If they have a Shaman in the back, if they have a Darkspear Troll in the back, it's just going to be like, nope, you're dead. Nope, you're dead. Nope, I'm going over here. For 4 cost, it has a lot of life. It does good charge damage. Its single target damage isn't that high. But you'd be shocked how good it just takes out back range DPS. It's a very, very good card. I'm going to put him... Yeah, I'll put him right in front of Necro for me. A lot of people would have Necro in front of that. That's fine, though. For me, I'd play Stone... I don't know why I can't say that. Okay, Stonehoof Tauren. That's right. Vultures are kind of trashy. There's a handful of maps where they're kind of meme-worthy, where they will take out chickens and then just come swarm in, or take out spiderlings and then swarm in. That's kind of fun. You'll use them a handful of times. They're better than all these D-tier units, but I'm going to put them right in here with spiderlings. They're good in a handful of ways. You don't really need to level them up like crazy. They're just... If you're going to swarm in a map, you can swarm in a map and you'll probably do pretty well. Welp Eggs are, with the Flame Burst talent, they are so good for so many things. They deal with Pyromancer, they deal with Frostwolf Shaman, they deal with Batrider, they deal with so much. They're just so good. They aren't invincible. They deal with Tauren, they deal with Wolf, all these things you fight all the time, they deal with very, 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 very well. And a lot of times you can place them right on the boss, and does very well there too. So they're a double S tier. They're unbelievably good. Flame Welp Eggs, super, 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 super good. I'm actually going to put that in front of Banshee even. I play Welp Eggs more often than I do Banshee. Next up we have Wolf Rider, and Wolf Rider is good-ish. He can be very useful if you're playing like a Sneed deck and you have various chests up there where you can take them out and get a little bit extra gold. Outside of Sneed decks, I would not play him very often. I'm going to put him higher than that. Yeah, I didn't even go higher than that. I'll put him right next to the Ogre Magi. I don't use him very often. Situational, if chests are there and you're playing the Sneed, sure. If you're not, I don't think he's great for a 4-cost unit. I don't see how he's ever really better than Tauren in any way. Wagon is a great card. It's extremely good in PvP. It's extremely good in PvE too. Like, it will kill an equal level Huntress. It will kill an equal level, like and it's unbound, so you can place it anywhere. You can just one-shot a Pyromancer. You can one-shot a Darkspear Troll. It's highly useful, and you can play it right on the boss too if you want to do that. And a lot of maps, it's actually quite good. So I'm going to put him high S tier. I'm sorry, low S tier, but extremely usable in so many different ways. I have a second meat wagon here, but there's one card that I don't have here, and that is Chimera. And Chimera is... We're going to pretend this meat wagon is Chimera. Chimera is a pretty bad card, generally. However, if you get this Corrosive Breath, you should watch that Devilsaur Queen video. Like, this card can literally solo Devilsaur Queen. So there are a handful of times where if you can get him poison breathing stuff over and over and over and over, he might be very good against Onyxia as well. I'm nowhere near that, but yeah, I think that Chimera is not very useful if you're just playing it as a normal unit. There's a handful of maps though where he is going to be quite good. So, like, quite good as in unbelievably powerful. So you definitely want to keep him leveled up. Get that Corrosive Breath. That's the thing to get. And yeah, I don't know. That being said, if this is Chimera, I'm going to put him, I don't know, mid-B tier. Because you're not going to really pretty much ever use him. Yeah, whatever. Even low B tier is fine. Because he's not that good, generally. But in the certain maps that he is good, he's unbelievable. So, I don't know. Whatever you guys think of this, let me know what you think. This is just from a lot of hours in the game. I'm not a pay-to-win player. I'm a totally free-to-play player, and have a lot of other like heroic guides on how to beat things like kind of cheesy and all that stuff. So it's kind of fun. But yeah, let me know where you think I'm wrong. Let me know if you agree with this kind of thing, and if you like to see more of this kind of thing. I like doing it. So yeah, holler. All right. Till the next time, y'all take care.